Thank you. If you could please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Montclair Police Department Honor Guard.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing while the colors are retired. Thank you. And at this time, you may be seated. At this time, I would like to welcome you to the 155th commencement of Montclair High School. I don't think you heard me. The 155th commencement of Montclair High School. Good evening. My name is Reginald Clark, Assistant Principal at Montclair High School. Join me in collectively welcoming our Superintendent, Dr. Jonathan Pons, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Kalisha Morgan, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Felice Harrison Crawford, Board of Education President, Latifa Jana, and board members, Eric Scherzer, Allison Silverstein, Crystal Hopkins, Catherine Weller-Deming, Priscilla Church, Phaedra Dunn, Monk Inyang, Melanie Dasher, and distinguished members of the community, the Honorable Mayor Spiller, Mayor of Montclair, the Honorable Robin Schlager, the Honorable Robert Russo, the Honorable David Cummings, teachers, proud parents and guardians of the graduates, and of course, the class of 2022. At this time, I would like to invite the president of the Student Coalition to the center podium, Jesse Pepper, for his welcoming remarks.
Hello. All right. Oh, jeez. All right. Good evening, Mr. Freeman, Dr. Pons, Board of Education members, Mayor Spiller, council members, distinguished guests, faculty and families, and of course, class of 2022. Come on. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm Jesse Pepper, or as most of you know me, Ziggy, and I'm this year's Student Coalition president. To get started, I'd like to share a quick story, which I suppose is a bit of a public thank you. When I first moved to Montclair in the 5th grade, I vowed to make no friends, coast by, and move back to my original town as soon as I possibly could. This master plan of mine lasted approximately 5 days, crumbling when it was put to the test as I entered Mr. Burrell's classroom for the first time. Here, I was sat with 3 particular kids. Those kids had no real reason to be nice to me, but they were, and despite my best efforts to remain cold and distant, they won me over. So, given I have more or less come to accept this extremely foreign land of Montclair as home, I'd like to thank you, Pete, Tyler, and Nate, because I know I would have gotten away with it had it not been for you meddling kids. Your simple acts of kindness helped me feel less alienated and taught me the importance of paying it forward, a lesson which has served me well. Due to the clear diabolical manipulation of those kids so long ago, I've had the pleasure of enduring Montclair High School along with all of you. Aside from collapsing stairs and global pandemics, I've had the privilege to interact with and come to know many of the people here today. While focusing on paying it forward as Student Coalition President, I found myself in the position to not only realize that each and every person of this graduating class embodies, to some degree, those same kind characteristics, but I've also learned the following life lessons, which I'd like to share with all of you. Everyone has that one interest or aspect about them that you wouldn't expect, whether that be a hobby, life experience, or a perspective about the universe. Everyone has something that they struggle with, yet everyone has something that makes their day worth experiencing. Everyone has been a bucket filler, and everyone, at one point or another, maybe not so accidentally, has been a bucket tipper. Everyone has their moments where they do everything right, and everything happens the way they want, but on that same note, everyone makes mistakes, such as trusting Ross to show up on time. Everyone you will ever meet is so beautifully complex and has layers that even they can't comprehend. And lastly, everyone is just taking it one step at a time, because really, no one knows what's going on, or when the next set of stairs may collapse. With that being said, I urge all of you to enter the next stage of your life with an open mind and remember to pay it forward so that if all else fails, you can trust in the goodness of your peers. Remember, the world isn't out to get you, and that sometimes all it takes is being nice to a kid in your class to change someone's perspective. Thank you, Montclair High School. It's been an honor. Congratulations, class of 22. Shout out Bomu Jelly to my stage.
Thank you, Jesse. At this time, I would like to invite Principal of Montclair High School, Jeffrey Freeman, to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I guess you can hear me. So we're gathered here in the amphitheater on this absolutely gorgeous day. Once again, Ms. Simon, my administrative assistant, assured me that the weather would be beautiful, we would have no problems. So thank you again, Ms. Simon. Good evening. Welcome, Superintendent Dr. Pons, Board Education President Latifah Jana, board members, Mayor Spiller, council members, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, proud parents and families, and of course, the class of 2022. That's right. It's their night. Let's celebrate them. Class of 2022, the past 4 years have presented numerous challenges which you have faced with grace and perseverance. Your class will always be remembered for outstanding academic achievement, great enthusiasm, and maintaining long-lasting friendships, kind of like the ones that Ziggy just referenced in his speech. Most importantly, You will be remembered for reminding us of the importance and the value of community. The energy and enthusiasm of this senior class was the reason why this amphitheater that you're all seated in was jam-packed for the spring pep rally, as was the senior staff basketball game, which, by the way, I'm still recovering from that game, right? Additionally, many members of the senior class opted to do their career internship program, also known as SIP, working in the Montclair Public School District to work with both students and staff to support the Montclair community. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Helper Bird, but members of this class who are part of the Immigrant Advocacy Club were able to get Helper Bird, a program that works with Chrome to assist ESL students and also has resources to support students with dyslexia. The company was so moved by the students' appeal that it gave the entire district a free 2-year subscription. That's right. And one final example of this class commitment to community is the communication between peers via email when they hit the reply all. I'm sure if you heard about that, this was the email that Mr. Clark sent out. I believe this email is still going. While this ceremony marks the end of your time together at Montclair High School, it also marks the beginning of the next chapter of your lives. Starting now, each of you will move forward into your individual journeys of your lives. Regardless of where your journeys take you, I am confident that you will always be able to trace back to this special moment that you have shared together. I wish you a journey filled with success, hard work, and the realization of your aspirations. You will be prepared for what lies ahead, as Mountie pride is your legacy. I know you will use it wisely to share the idealism and humanity that is the essence of Montclair High School. I will be forever grateful for the opportunity to serve as your principal during your senior year. Congratulations and all the best to the class of 2022.
Thank you for those kind and encouraging words, Mr. Freeman. At this time, we will have a selection from the choir as they sing the song of farewell. At this time, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. He was born and raised in New York City and graduated from Iona College with a BA in psychology. He served as a member of VISTA. Some of you may know it as the Peace Corps. And during this time, he counseled young inmates at Rikers Island Prison. He attended Columbia University and graduated with a master's degree in urban education and curriculum, after which he came to Montclair school system in September of 1970. This is his 52nd year teaching. He is not retired. He was part of the committee to redesign the middle schools of Montclair in order to desegregate the schools to comply with the court order. In 1984, he led the adoption of Glenfield as a peace site. In 1996, he coordinated the centennial of Glenfield School. In 2004, he and his students wrote a book on the history of Glenfield, as it celebrated the Brown versus Board of Education ruling and its effects on desegregating the Montclair public schools. The focus of the book was to look at Glenfield as a microcosm of that decision. He has served in the Upward Bound program at Seton Hall University for 40 years. He was the recipient of the Robert Merrill Scholar Award from Cornell University and was awarded with the Euphemia Lofton Haynes Award from the Montclair NAACP. He is part of the recent documentary entitled The One That Got Away, that addresses the unfortunate path of one of his students and how he fell into the gang culture, his subsequent arrest, and imprisonment. This year, he served on the committee that organized the celebration of Glenfield's 125th anniversary. He's the proud father of 3 children who all graduated from Montclair High School, and he enjoys time with his 6 grandchildren and wife, Michelle, who has also provided him with support and encouragement. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Daniel Gill.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So the first thing I want to say is I am so happy that everybody has a cap and a gown. I saw that email last week and that they needed caps and gowns, and I said to my wife, oh, by the way, the most important part of that introduction is I've been married for 50 years, so she's been the most important part of my life. But I said to the wife of 50 years, I said, so where's my cap and gown? She said, the last time you graduated from anywhere was 1970. Do you think I kept it? Oh, as a matter of fact, I know what I did. I wrapped it around a mop one day because I found out it was really good at picking up the dust, and I didn't think you would mind. So I'm so happy that you all do. I also went on YouTube, and I found out that you could actually, you can find out anything on YouTube. You can actually find out how to make a mortarboard on YouTube. The second thing I promised not to do is to tell you that your future is ahead of you. I think that's kind of obvious. Can you see somebody saying, hey, did you see my future? It was right there. I don't know where it went. What I'm going to try to do today, and my objective today as a teacher, is to tell you a few stories. Stories about things that have happened to me as a teacher and as a human being. And hopefully I can tie those stories into some major ideas that maybe you could take away today. So think of this as your last lesson. And yes, there will be homework. I'm incredibly honored to be here today. So 52 years ago, behind the parents here, I was welcomed as a young man who knew nothing of Montclair. I was from New York City for my first orientation. And I knew that even then, there was something special about this community. There was a sense of people working together, people wanting to do right by young people, and people willing to support you as you journeyed through your teacher career. I've been very fortunate to have had this journey. My first assignment was at Hillside School. I was assigned there because I knew the principal from Columbia University, Mr. Bongo, and he actually offered me a job. One of the reasons I'm here today is because of an assistant principal that if you've lived in Montclair, you know his name. His name is Mr. Frank Rennie. Yes. God rest his soul. He was my first assistant principal, and so I was in this portable classroom, and so it was my first time that I was being observed. So I had the door propped open. It was a hot day in October, and he was observing me, and obviously I was nervous, and a dog came into the classroom. And I thought, okay, it's been nice working here in Montclair. I guess he's going to start to tell me how bad That is, to have the door open and have a dog wander into the classroom. You know what he did? He laughed. You know what he made the kids do? Pet the dog, hug the dog, and then he told me to continue on with the lesson. That wasn't the only lesson he taught me, but what it did teach me is to be thankful to someone who is there to support me. Probably the most important lesson I've lived through is understanding how thankfulness really, really is the most important thing you can show towards people who have been important to you. At a recent celebration of the Glenfield 125, a number of former Glenfield students told stories about Frank Rennie. They told me that he taught them to read, and that changed their lives. One student told me, one man now, told me that Mr. Rennie used to take him home to his house so he could have dinner with his wife and his 4 boys. When you hear stories like that, all you can be is thankful to have had someone like that in your life. So the first lesson is obviously to be thankful for what you have and to those who have helped you on your way. This class obviously has had its share of challenges, falling staircases. You've had to navigate how to do school on a screen during a pandemic. You lost valuable opportunities for social and emotional growth, but you have met these many challenges, and here you sit today facing your significant parents and caregivers. You should be very proud of yourselves, but most importantly, what I would like you to do is to stand up and show your thankfulness to those people who are here to share this day with you. Would you please stand and give them a round of applause? I like this class. They listen to me. Okay, you can sit down now. All right. That thankfulness also needs to include the wonderful community of Montclair. There are so many people that you don't know who supported you during your time in school. Civic organizations like the Montclair Scholarship Fund, the Montclair Fund for Educational Excellence, the NAACP, the Montclair Neighborhood Development Corporation, and Succeed Together, to name a few. You should also thank the people who are sitting at the top of this area here, your administrators, your teachers, your counselors, those people who are here, the security people, the people who sweep up after you each day, the people who clean the bathrooms. It is important to remember not just to be thankful to the people who are above you, but to also thank the people who serve you so that they know they're doing the right thing and they feel appreciated for what they do. As a teacher, I know what your teachers have done here. What they have done for you is to create a safe space. That's what it's really about. Having young people come to a school and feel safe with another human being and with other kids who are like-minded. You have found this space on the athletic field for some of you, in drama for some others, in music, in chorus. You found it in the science labs. You found it in the debate class. You found a place in this school that made you feel safe. And that's what makes an incredibly good school. Not so much what grades you got, but how you felt as you went along your journey here. I have been often reminded, as someone who's taught for 52 years, that nobody ever remembers the lessons I've taught them. I ask them, do you remember anything about the Constitution? But what they tell me is this: I remember the day you fell down and you split your pants. That's what they remember. And then I said, so what do you remember? He said, well, you laughed at yourself. And that's when I learned that that's what I should do when I'm doing something silly. I should laugh at myself. It's something that I can share with other people. Some people told me that I taught them how to stand out when they were applying for something. How are they going to present themselves? Other students reminded me of something that I said to them that they were reminded of as they went to college. For some of you, you may not remember everything, but you are going to remember how some of the teachers and people in your life here made you feel. Say thank you to those people in your life. The other people you have to thank are the taxpayers. The taxpayers never get thanked. Did you ever notice? There's a Mayor Spiller, you ever write a note, say, thank you for paying your taxes, now we can, proceed? You'd be shocked to get that kind of a letter, I'm sure. But you know what? If it wasn't for the taxpayers, this school wouldn't stand here. The idea of free public education is the most important idea in this nation. So we should take a picture and say, Mayor, take this picture. Say, that's where your taxes go, right here. We've invested in young people. We don't make widgets here. We grow people here. And this is what's important about this school. We recognize differences. We challenge ourselves each and every day to do what's best for them. And yes, do we need more money? Of course we do. I'm often reminded of what Alan Shepard said when he sat on top of a missile. They said, well, what did you think about before they launched you in space? And he said, well, I thought about the fact that everything in this missile was made by the lowest bidder. In fact, you get a lot for your money here, folks. I want you to know that. There's a lot of sweat that we do that you don't see. Teachers do amazing things and don't want any credit. And today's celebration is not just a celebration for you, the friends and family of these graduates, but it's also a celebration for Montclair. Montclair, near and dear to my heart, a place that I decided to raise my family. I'll give you 3 examples. Example number 1, when the cap and gown email went out, people started to rummage through their closets looking for caps and gowns because your community felt it was important that you had that. That's one example of your community. Number 2, you may not know this, but there is now a fund called Adopt a Mountie. Amina Toller, Daniel Roberts, Donna Montague, Megan Roberts, and Peter Yacobelis have sent out emails to people, and they have created a fund for these graduates who may not be able to buy the basic necessities needed for a dorm room. I just looked before I came. To date, 51 people in your community have donated $4,766 to that fund. Your community cares. Your community cares for you. The third thing that you're going to see is in a few hours, you're going to board a bus, and you're going to take this wonderful ride through this town. People you've never met will come to the corner of their street, to the curb, and they will wave at you, and they will cheer you because they have that sense of communal success with your success. So smile, and wave and feel proud that you are a Mountie, a member of this amazing community. The second thing I would like to speak about is I would like you, this is where the homework comes in, by the way, to make a commitment to improve your literacy. We are currently seeing that there's a movement by certain groups who would like to limit what you can learn and what you can read in our schools and libraries. The list of most common books banned include Huckleberry Finn, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1984, Fahrenheit 451. Now, how ironic is that? A book about book burning is now being banned. And finally, the book that was really important when I went to college, The Narrative of Frederick Douglass, an American slave written by himself. What are they afraid of? That you would know that there was enslaved people? What are they afraid of? This book was written by a man who pretty much taught himself how to read and write, and who was committed his whole life to freeing the slaves, even to the extent, and if you've never read about Frederick Douglass, that's on your homework too. When he was invited to the White House, and Abraham Lincoln invited him to the White House, he sat at a table and he yelled. He's like the first black man to yell at a president, which I love about him, okay? And he yelled at him and he said, "You are not doing right. What you need to do is free the slaves. We will, and enlist us in your army. We will fight for freedom. We will show you that we will measure up." That's a book that needs to be read. And if you haven't read it, please do so. It's interesting. No teenager likes to be told not to do something. So now you've been told not to do something, so go for it. And go to the Montclair Public Library. They have the list there. And just as homework, just read one of the banned books. It will expand your horizons. Next point, vote. Please vote. I think, I get in trouble for this, but I think that the voting age should be reduced to 16. You'd be surprised. In the country of Iran, 16-year-olds vote. So are they any smarter than our kids? I don't think so. As somebody who's been in a classroom for 52 years, I trust them more than I would trust most of the adults. Especially this November, there's going to be two things on the ballot that's very important. We now have an elected board, which affects not you anymore, but will affect those who come behind you. And secondly, we hope to see a bond issue on that ballot so that we can get the needed funds we have to bring these schools up to speed and provide the best education for those who come behind you. So please vote. The last thing I would tell you is, do not lose your hope in common man. One of the things that disturbs me is how many people say, "Oh, I don't trust people anymore. Blah, 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 blah." Well, those are people who spend way too much time on the internet reading comments or tweeting nonsense. Go out in the real world and meet real people, and you will be renewed about your faith in mankind. I'm going to tell you two personal stories. One has to do with a path mark. You say, well, what does a path mark have to do with having faith in humankind? So as those of you know in the South End, where you now have a food desert, unfortunately, the whole point of going to the path mark was to save money. As a matter of fact, when I went there, they would follow me around and somebody would say, "Where's Mr. Gill?" And I'd say, Mr. Gill is in aisle 5. He'll have a parent conference next to the frozen peas. So I would go there to buy snacks for my students who stay after school, ice cream and cookies and so on, and you put them into a basket, and you know when you're standing in line, you look at everybody's basket. You got to admit that, right? And you say, oh my God, why is that person buying that? I mean, they shouldn't be eating those things. So anyway, so this woman is in front of me and she says, oh, that's an interesting cart you have. Well, why are you buying all that? And I said, well, I'm on this amazing diet. You eat all the sweets you want, and you lose weight. And I'm a perfect example of that. And she said, no. Why is that? Well, I'm a teacher, and I'm buying these for my students. And so she says to me, well, you're a teacher, so where do you teach? And I said, Glenfield. And she said, I went to Glenfield. And now I'm trying to get out of the pathmark because I'm avoiding what I'm telling you, don't avoid. This is a teachable moment. That's what I should have said to myself, but I'm trying to get out. And she said, I graduated at Glenfield in 1942. And I said, that's nice, and I'm trying to get out of the pathmark because I'm still not listening to myself. And she says, I know the school song. And I go, that's nice. And then she said, and I'm going to sing it for you. And so in the middle of the pathmark, this woman, graduate of Glenfield 42, sang the Glenfield alma mater. Wow. That school meant so much to her. She made me a better person that day. And when I ran back to school, I had to find somebody who knew that song so they could teach it to me, so that I could teach it to my students. People are good. People are fine. The second thing, as you probably know, unfortunately, I have gotten a lot of notoriety lately. Look at what I got in the mail yesterday. You're always supposed to bring, just for those of you who don't know about teaching, you have to have visual stuff. So, and when it was in my mailbox, and I thought, oh, is there a ninja after me? Because it looks like, one of those things that people. This was written by a man because he read the article about me. He lives in Des Moines, Iowa. And don't get carried away what it says about me. But he says, people do not come kinder than Daniel Gill. That's the word here in my house in Des Moines, Iowa. I want to tell you my story. I marched with Dr. King. I was with John Lewis. I was at Selma. I was at Montgomery. And I taught in a school that was 70% black. I also worked with Bishop Tutu. I did all this work, but I congratulate you. Here's the key. When somebody sees something good about you, it's so wonderful to hear about their lives. All you have to do is listen and shut up. So this is really precious to me. So you never know when the teachable moment comes in your life. All of you have a story. Share it. Share it. Don't hold it back, because you want your children and your grandchildren to know your story so that someday they can pass it to someone else. It's a sense of pride. So I had a terrible thing happen at the age of 9, which had to do with a birthday party. And the reason that I wrote this story down was I was trying to connect with my students on Martin Luther King Day. And this thing happened at a birthday party. And I wanted to share that with my students so that we could understand what they must face, but also how they must react to that. So let me share this story. This story relates to my first experience with racism. It was an awakening to the cruel realities of life and how people viewed others through the lens of color. I was 9 years old, and I was unaware that people made judgments about others based on the color of one's skin. I grew up in a neighborhood in New York City that was racially integrated. Birthday parties were always big events, and on this occasion, I was invited to a party of one of my friends, Brian. I had decided to go to the party with one of my other friends, Archie, who was African American. As was the custom of the time, we were both dressed in our Sunday best, jacket, tie, and dress shoes. We both set off to the party with great anticipation. We looked forward to being with our friends, playing pin the tail on the donkey, and eating large amounts of ice cream and cake. We went up the elevator to the 7th floor of the apartment house where Brian lived. We were both holding our carefully wrapped presents under our arms when we rang the bell of Brian's apartment. Mrs. Heller answered the door and said nothing at first. She looked at us carefully. I thought that I had something on my tie, and I tried to look down to see maybe I got some mustard on there or something. At this point, Mrs. Heller said that I could go in, but that Archie couldn't because there were no more chairs. And I said, wait a minute, Mrs. Heller. I've been to your house lots of times. You have plenty of chairs. And even if you don't, I'll sit on the floor. She said, I didn't understand. There were no more chairs. I said, no problem. I'm going to go home, get myself a chair. I'll be right back. She said, you don't understand. You can come in, but Archie has to go home because there are no more chairs. I gave the presents to Mrs. Heller, and I said, Archie and I are going to go to my house where there are plenty of chairs. On the elevator ride down, both of us began to sob, and large tears were streaming down our faces. I will never forget that day. It robbed me of my innocence and caused humiliation for my good friend. Archie and I have drifted apart during high school, but I've never forgotten this. And I've always made it a point to put out an extra chair in my classroom for anyone who comes knocking on my door filled with anticipation. This story isn't just about Archie and myself. The chair is obviously a metaphor. A metaphor, what we can do as a community. A metaphor that we must do in our community to treat everyone with respect and support those who need the support. I hope that each of the graduates here might have their own metaphor in their life that will propel them forward to a life of respect. But if not, you are free to borrow mine at all times. And by the way, if you ever come down to Glenfield, please visit. There's always an extra chair for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gill, for those kind and encouraging words. We are all inspired by your service to our community and to our schools. At this time, join me in welcoming Leon Wang, Senior Class President for the class of 2022.
Good evening, Montclair. My name is Wang. Let me get the sunglasses real quick. And I'm the senior class president for the class of 2022. Graduates, friends, parents, coaches, esteemed faculty and administration, and of course, Mr. Freeman. Good evening, and congratulations to the Montclair High School class of 2022. I like to say, thank you for giving me an open mic in front of a live audience. I don't know if that was a smart decision, especially considering the intro music you just heard. But I'll start pretty cliche because, of course, I have to thank my amazing family. To my brother Lee, who through tough love bullied me into the person I am today. To my second brother and former class president Ely Spencer-Kroon, who matches my energy and always pushes me to improve. To the two amazing people I wouldn't be here without. My beautiful mother Sunny, who works so hard to keep our household running every day. And of course, my father John, my greatest inspiration and real life superhero. Dad, you went through indescribable hardship during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, but you didn't make any excuses and became the only student in your hometown to attend college, let alone earn your PhD. You still continue to work hard every day to provide for us. So to my family, I don't say this enough, but I love you all and appreciate everything you do for me. I also want to thank the rest of Student Council, who I've worked closely with all year. Our advisors, Ms. Conti Naswasko, and my vice presidents, Trustee Amber Werner, my 5 a.m. gym buddy, Paige Foley, and of course, the Shaney to my bush, Mr. Noah Fishman. We've accomplished so much this year as a team. We raised over $10,000 for the senior class through sales and fundraisers. We organized countless events, including our Students versus Teachers basketball tournament, which Mr. Freeman mentioned. We worked with administration to reform the COVID protocols, but most importantly, we represented student voices during a tough time and planned all of prom. Hope you all liked it. Thank you to my peers for electing me into this position. I'm proud to say that I received 100% of the student vote for senior class president without a single vote cast against me. Now, so this is a detail that I leave out in most conversations, but no one actually ran against me for senior class presidency. And we don't have an electoral college, but I'd still like to think that I won the selection fair and square, just like many other presidents have. But then some others will say that I stole the election or even write books about that. Can you believe it? I mean, some people are calling it the greatest crime of the century. It's pretty crazy. I'm honored to be president of this acclaimed class of 2022, who probably had the least normal high school experience in MHS history. It was so unique, in fact, that I wanted to give myself a recap of what Montclair High School was like when I was writing the speech. So I referred to Urban Dictionary. Montclair High School, probably the most unique high school in the country. In this high school, because of the extreme mix of races and social classes and lack of stairs, the atmosphere is not even close to what you would see anywhere else. Montclair High School used in a sentence. I heard Montclair High School stairs broke for the 3rd time this year. And that's where it all started for us. The good old stairs collapsing on our 2nd day of high school. Back then, we played American ball with Miss H and blew all our money on Ruthie's Pizza and Ann's Tenders and Fries. We didn't ask girls for their Snapchats. We'd ask if they had classes in the trailers or talk about the various ways of protecting our bodies, which of course we learned from the lovely Miss Krimmel, our health teacher. And then we came back for our sophomore year, where we thought, what else could possibly go wrong? And we were right at first. Things were looking up. School was going smoothly. We passed driver's ed, started causing mayhem on the roads. We found out Charlie D'Amelio existed. But we all know what happened next. Good old quarantine, and of course the quizzes cheating software scandal in chemistry class. That was followed by junior year, the year of cheating, photomath, and year of online learning, my bad. Something happened to the mic, my bad. The year where every girl behind me developed a crush on Mr. Meyer and or Coach Deal, or both. We loaded ourselves up with APs and got our driver's licenses, just like we always talked about. But whatever the case was, especially with COVID, it always felt like we were taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back. At times it got brutal, and we'd feel sour, but we held on to the hope that we'd be happier. Then senior year came along, which I view as the year of growth. We last left school as anxious sophomores, and in the blink of an eye, we were seniors. All of a sudden, everything was different. So I'd like to quote the decorated philosopher and theorist, Chief Keef, who once said, "There ain't nothing gonna be the same." Because when we came back to school, nothing was. Watchung Deli was replaced by Milburn Deli, the green truck was gone, everything became expensive, food, gas, stock and crypto markets for all of you investors out there, you feel my pain. We discovered our librarian, Miss Parker, who, by the way, can raise her voice when she wants to, I know that too well. But we went through the motions, settled in, and now we have a lot to remember. But recalling the 14th president or the integral of 3x squared is not what we will take away from Montclair, nor is it what will help us change the world in the future. By the way, it's Franklin Pierce and X cubed. Throughout our Montclair education, though far from normal, we have learned how to learn, and not exactly what to think, but how to think. We've been given so many useful tools to help us conquer the real world. You know, things we'll use every day in our futures, like knowing how to write DBQs about the War of 1812 and solving geometric proofs. But outside of these ever-useful tools, Montclair High School has also given us the opportunity to reflect and learn. What have you learned about yourself these past 4 years? Whatever it may be for you, take a step back and think about how you've developed as a person throughout high school. You are not the same Fortnite addict or Visco girl who came into this building. Some of you are going to 2 or 4 year colleges next year. Some of you are taking gap years. Some of you are foregoing college altogether. No two stories are the same, so focus on you and don't compare yourself to anyone else. My calculus teacher, Mr. Rubin, would always tell us, you don't have to be the best one, you just need to be the right one. Because really, why are we comparing ourselves? Why are we trying to compete so hard? In the real world, it's not just one who can succeed, it's many. Take a look behind me at this wonderful, diverse graduating class. Each and every one of us has our own strengths and weaknesses. Some of us specialize in sports, some of us specialize in like calculus, astrophysics, others simply specialize in talking to women. But the beauty of our class and the network we form is that we are all unique and coming from different backgrounds and circumstances, and all have our own thing going for us, even if it's just talking to women. As you enter your next chapter, I urge you to forge your own path, no matter where life may take you. Ask yourself, why do I get up every morning? What am I going to try and accomplish today? No matter what that may be, get after it, stay consistent, and fall in love with the process. An example from author Simon Sinek. If you go to the gym once, you won't see any progress. If you go to the gym twice, you still won't see any progress. But if you go almost every day and stay committed, you'll start to see change. Keep going for a month, others will notice. Keep going for 6 months, people will be asking for your workout plan. Now it could be working out, it could be research, it could be anything. Whatever you want to do, just remember what you're working for. Don't get caught up in the past, it will prevent you from living in the present. Keep a short memory, and remember that every day is a new day. And as weightlifter Bradley Martin said, along the way, you will be judged by others. That's just human nature. Some of you might be judging me right now, like who gave this idiot the microphone? But truthfully, absolutely none of that matters. It doesn't matter what someone else says about your success or what you enjoy, all of that is just noise. The only thing that truly matters is where you lie in your own heart. And it might be hard because it's your nature to seek approval, validation, to want to defend yourself, but silence everything else and listen to your heart because it will always guide you in the right direction. You don't need to prove to anyone but yourself that you are good enough. Whatever it is you want to do, it could be anyone, so why not you? Thank you so much, and go Mounties.
Thank you for those words, Leon. At this time, join me in welcoming Dr. Jonathan Pons and Mr. Jeffrey Freeman to present the class of 2022. Also, I would like to invite Montclair Board of Education President, Ms. Latifah Jana.
What a beautiful night. And parents, graduates, thank you so much for who you are and what you're doing, what you're about to do. Congratulations and best wishes to the graduates and to the parents, guardians, families, members, and friends who celebrate with us this evening. As the superintendent of the Montclair Public Schools, I attest that the students participating in this evening's ceremony have successfully met the graduation requirements set forth by the state of New Jersey and the Montclair Board of Education. And I hereby certify that the members of the class of 2022 have rightly earned their high school diplomas.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Spiller, members of the Town Council, members of the Board of Education and Dr. Pons, administrators and staff, community and families, and most of all, Montclair High School class of 2022. The path you have walked these past 4 years has not been an easy one. Loss, a pandemic, lockdowns, fear, masks, remote learning, COVID testing, and COVID vaccines. You were finally able to come back to school, back to teachers and classmates, back to sports, back to something that resembled normal. And now you are here, not at the end, but beginning a new journey on a new path with new challenges. When I was looking for words to say at this graduation, I thought of a show I watch on Sunday mornings, Ways to School, presents students on their way to school over mountains, through rivers, through cities and villages, mostly walking, fraught with potential danger and obstacles. But the students persevere because school is not the end of the road, but the beginning of the future of their dreams. Your way to Montclair School has ended. Your future awaits. It's truly a different world from where you started. But you are a class of strength and courage supported by family and community. Montclair High School class of 2022, it is your time to go forth. It is your time to make a way. It is your time to be amazing. On behalf of the Montclair Board of Education, with all of your requirements met, we accept the graduating class of 2022.
At this time, I would like to invite Mirta Alcina and Sophia Kinney to read the names of the graduates.
Matthew Abate. Adam Abdallah. Adam Adelatif. Jonathan Abrams. Jordana Amira Abudiak. Ariel Denise Adams. Jennifer Adelman. Dulce Angelis Aguilar Martinez. Sanaya Aiken Wilson. Sean Alexander. Orhan Algar. Daniela Alicandri. Rafael Aluson. James David Amaya. Robeson Amory. Alexandros Anastastopoulos. Remy Antinoro. Oh. Remy Antinoro.
Carly Applebaum. Emily Arata. Annika Aristamuno. Manuel Arnez. Kelly Ariaza. Jacob Barnes Atkinson. Kennedy Bagley Fortner. Kelsey Bulch. Malcolm Barge. Samantha Barton. Ella Bashwitz. Joshua Battle. Layla Diamond Celeste Battle. Anna Bauer. Jeremiah Wheeler Bauer. Adara Baye. Elijah Beek. Eleanor Loring Bellman. Dante R. Benevenga. Asher Bergman.
Ross Berkowitz. Hannah Bernstein. Angel D. Baracall Paz. Kai Bismal. Veronica Beavis. Austin Blake. Micaiah Blutcher. Charles Bollinger. Morgan Bond. Maximiliano Bussetti. David Mark Bourbon. Adelina Bracy. Ayana Brantley. Kate Brauckley. Beatrice B. Braun Arnold. Lillian H. Brown Arnold. Solomon Brennan. Avery C. Bronner. Charlotte Brooks. Charlotte Brooks LeBlanc. Aiden Brown. Alexander Brown.
Harrison Doswell Brown. Jordan Brown. Molly Brumbach. Charles Edward Peter Budetti.
Congrats.
Karam Bulut. John Burns. Kaylee Burr. Nicholas Caldarella. Phoebe Campbell. Eloise N. Campisi. Lindana Carby. August Carlson. Sophie Marie Carrillo. Mary Grace Carroll. Raymond Carter. Ella Catania. Jocelyn Carmen Serna Cardenas. Damira Champagny. Olivia Champeau. Kelvin Emerson Chang. Sophia Chapman. Zayden Chappelle. Amaya Simone Cherry. Jacques Siambra.
Maria J. Chunga. Sebastian Bradley Clark. Brandon Martin Cokes. Altamir Tajay Coco. Nadav Cohen. Sol Cornejo. Marcus Denzel Crawford. Morgan Ashley Crawford. Andrew John Cretides. Sam Croft. Amori Danae Cross Fox. Baylor Kreider. Mia Safian Cutler. Ethan Dadabo. Chloe Damascus. Aaliyah Natasha Davis. Benjamin Davis. Tyler Davis. Ian Mitchell Day. Siraj DeCaries. Juliana Celeste De Rosario. Jackson Delgado. Lucas Delgado. Charlie DeLuca. Emma Demifac. Jenna DeMichael.
Emily Diaz. Jason Dibble. Noah Denistrian. Kayla Donis. Nicholas John Donato. Kayla Donegan. Jalen Dorch. Carolina Dorian. Aiden Dowell. Nikolai Dragich. Max Dreyfus. Angelina Lenda Rosetta Donchantier Anderson. Courtney Dudley. Shelby Duffy. Nasa Duncan. Jane Dwyer. Victoria Dice. Andy Earl. Julianne Eckert. Nathan Edinburgh. Charles Ellis, presented by his aunt Melanie Deischer. Alyssa Gia Enright. Annalisa Cecilia Faulkner Valiente. Henry Fain. Max Ferrante. Erin Festa. Taini Silva Philadelphia.
Ikim Asarat Ferdewick. Noah Fishman. Elizabeth Fitzgerald. Grace Fitzgerald. Jesse Flanagan. Anaya Nicole Fleming Thomas. Connor Foley. Paige Foley. Lily Sarah Fong. Noah Frank. Isabel Frazier. Tobias Freed. Dayton Emery Freed. Reuben William Fry. Rachel Gabriel. Gavin Gajraj. Latavia Gallion. Zoe J. Gelman. Jonah Jelsey. Rohan M. Giancaspro. Michael Gibbons. Colin Gibson. Evelyn Jalot. Kai Gilmore. Casey Goldberg. Sadie Goldberg.
Brendan Goldman. Ava Gorman Zaldo. Timothy Glenn Graham. Carl Eric Granfelt. Skyla Farah Granger. Marjorie Greenberg. Tyler Grisafi. Harry Gritch. Amaya Groffman. Madeline Groves. Arman Nikhil Gupta. Kush Gupta. Marcos Raul Gutierrez. Michael Anthony Guzman. Jaron Haley Coley. Moreau Hall. Sky Hall. Elijah Haley. Garrett Halpern. George Harb. George Harb. Aaron Hardy. Amelia Hardy. Ian Matthew Harris. Sydney Harris. Samara Haynes. Ruby May Heathman. Madeline Hedgepeth. Aylat Herman.
Liam Herman. Andrea Hernandez. Kira Hessler. Oliver Sage Herschel. Anais Higgins. Ty Hillman. Vaughn Hockey. Lily Hoffman. Palmer Holland. Veronica Holtz. Ruby Hornick. Benjamin Horrigan, presented by his mother, Melanie Deischer. Sean Hosier. Skylar Shea. Shannon Hunn. Lucas Sterling Hunkins. Dylan Joshua Hunter. Suda Grace Hurley Heel. Caleb Hurtado de Mendoza. Layla Hurwitz. Ava Yanwale. Kara Yanwale. Seward Jabate. Jamila James. May Jeong. Sahai John.
Nakara Johnson. Nikayla Johnson. Liza Jonas. Sol Emily Jordan. Aiden Kaiser. Alejandro Kaplan. Julia Kaplan. Mateo Caranja. Asher W. Kaufman. Ava Isabel Call Barrett. Johanna Kaiser. Ethan Samuel Kahn. Dong-Soo Kim. Kaishan N. King. Justin Kingsnorth. Jenna Knox Gatlin. Oliver Harvey Koning. Ari Cone Shepin. Nicholas Kasafowski. Sydney Koval. Hero Comferman. Ava Comferschmidt. Ava Comferschmidt. Julian G. Kerhajek.
Zachary Layden. Marcos Daniel LePay. Madison LaPrete Pistachio. Zoe Ray Larkey. Zoe Annabelle Lacena. Ian Lauderhan. Kaya Lawson. Alejandro Ledesma. Brianna Sana Leach. Nair Kyrie Leon. Noam Levi. Caleb Carey Levine. Nicholas Drew Levine. Asher Levy. Jason Lewis. Mason Lewis. Benjamin Julian Lacoste. Nico Lieb. Angelo Limentani. Kevin Lynn. Lucas Leona.
Nathan Lowy. Rasul Lowe. Adriana I. Lustin. Rivers Edwin Lyons. Graham McKay. Julia Magaldi. Maxime Malucena. Jaden Mamano Capalbo. Cleo Marcus. Isan Falace. Jackson Martin. Maximilian Martin. Sabrina Martin. Dylan Martling. Melvin Matias. Ashlyn McAdams. William McDermott. Ethan McGeever. Maura Kelly McGeever. Mark McGoy. Passion McKnight. Scarlett Rose McLaughlin. Isa Mejia. Ebony Brittany Melton. Bianca Mendez.
Joaquin Mendez. Conrad Matthew Miklashevsky. Sophie Miller. Devon Mingo. Brianne Mitchell. Desiree P. Momo. Charles Moore. August Moore Manakis. Lauren Allison Morganlander. Jabril Mohammed. Rebecca Murphy. Sharon Mutasa. Sydney Mora. Max Myers. Joshua Naddison. Sophia Nago. Lee Natural. Chloe Nemes. Jackson T. Nicholson. Catherine O'Keefe. Milo O'Shea. Patrick O'Toole. Samuel Odige. Nolan Ogden. John Patrick Omeler.
Olivia Okochi. Jalen Onion. Noam Oren. Emma Osborne. Dana Oscar. Yasmin Nicole Osorio. Juliet Ella Ostenkovich Iwanicki. Aiden Okama. Maya Padberg. Ashley Padilla. Genesis Padilla. Naima Palmer. Quinlan Parisi. Sashel Amira Pembroke. William Flynn Pennell. Jesse Pepper. Nicholas Para. Gilad Perlman Greenberg. Alyssa Phillips. Samuel Joseph Philo. Armani Pierre. Noah Pierre. Eli Grant Pinillis. Courtney Pipsinski. Richard Pitera. Eli Plocker. Natalie Plofker. Seamus Podwaski. Portia Poglinko. Riley Poliner. Ife Oluwapo Popula. Leo Powers. Jordan Priester.
Christina Chu. Sana Quander. Ethan Rafael Quinones. Melissa Brianna Ramsewak. Ethan Rappaport. Mark Reachin. Alexandra Reish. Robert Reifenberg. Jahida Reyes. Dahlia Reynolds. Farah Ricard. Annabelle Richards. Logan Richburg. Jaden Robinson Helms. Emerson Roche. Raymond Jack Rodriguez Vars.
Juliana Rojas Mendoza. Benjamin Roncero. Layla Roshitz Scammell. Samuel Rosen. Coffee Rosenbaum. Nolan Laszlo Rosser. Alex Rougebeck. Liam Rougebeck. Miles Roy. Kai Rubenwish. Avery Ruddle Stolberg. Elijah Rudderman. Jaden Rudderman. Maya Russman. Tobia Ruth. Lexi Ryan. Sophia Isabella Saidi. Isabella Salamo. Vasilios Salatas. Lillian Salem. John Salmon. Danielle Yvonne Sam. Faye Sander. Stella Santos. Madeline Sarayski. Jordan Sawadogo. Julia Shannon. Glenn Sharshman. Jonah Douglas Scher. Charles Joseph Schmidt. Ella Schoenwetter. Bailey Kai Godshell Schoolman. Caroline Schroeder. Chloe Schuster. Ilana Shorts. Leo Philip Shorts. Marguerite Shorts. Jaslyn Hava Shortsman Crawford. Chris Scott. Daphne Scroggins. Maverick Salamenti. Jim Bruce Sellers. Tadrea Shells. Ella Kate Shelton. Bradley Sherman. Sydney Silberman. Ella Naomi Simons. Lila Singer. Simon Scarry. Hadley School.
Peter Scutch. Jalal D. Slava. Alma Smith. Oliver Smith. Quinn Jaden Smith. Gabriel Smullian. Natalie Snyder. Jackson Summerstein. Samantha Jane Sorger. Iman Souza. Sage Violet Spihar. Kamajere Spencer. Madison Spielberg. Jonathan Sproul. Shonita Srinivasan. Fiona Grace Stanton. Ada Starbuck. Julia Carolyn Stair. Samantha Nicole Stahlbaum. Phoebe Jane Sullivan. Ava Summers. Eli Suskind. Shahad Sutton. Alicia Sweet. Caden Daniel Theron Corey. Emily Thomas. Tatiana Thomas. Tarek Thompson. Omari Tusi Brown. Oliver Chiha. Wyatt Tobin. George Togman.
Zoe Marie Torpy. Sean Michael Trozy. Courtney Jessica Turgeon. Christian Uva. Emma Uva. Brandon Jeremiah Valentine. Malachi Jordan Valentine. Angus Van Hamburg. Janisa Vargas. Luke Vasallo. Efren Vasquez. VJ Ved. Alex Veldron. Ariel V. Villavisar. James Visconti. Maxwell Waits. Karan Walker. Leon Wang. Taylor Denise Watford. Ayana R. Watkins. Janaya Watson. Megan Weil. Elijah Vincent Welch. Owen Wells. Samuel Welsh. Amber Werner. Davanya White. Anila White. Chloe H. Wiederhorn. Aiden Wigdor. Alexis Williams. Jordan Williams.
Reese Williams. Tamir L. Williams. Jabari Hakeem Wilson. Sanai Wilson. Kate Winston. Kyla Whitner White. Aaliyah Paul Wolf Nye. Melvin Rice. Billy Wright Mullings. Beckett Yee. Yabasera Getu Yamani. Lucas G. Young. Alianisa Yusuf. Talia Justine. Samuel Zeller. Abigail Zellner. Zimichael Zimiko. Vincent Zhang. Marcos Eros Zaccardi. Samuel Michael Zichelli. Oliver Zylstra.
Good job. With that, I would ask that the class of 2022 to please rise. Class of 2022, before you cross the bridge and become Montclair High School alumni, I have one final task for you to complete as we come to the end of your graduation ceremony. As a symbolic gesture of your completion of high school, graduates, you may now turn your tassels from right to left. Parents, guests, and staff, it is my honor and my privilege to present to you Montclair High School's class of 2022.
Congratulations, class of 2022. At this time, if we have any seniors that have been in chorus throughout their time at Montclair High School, we welcome them to join the chorus on the side as they sing the alma mater. So graduates, your family and friends who helped and supported you as you worked tirelessly toward earning your diploma have just extended their congratulations to you. It is fitting that you recognize them for the support that they have provided throughout your journey. Please give them a round of applause.